Yes, now I remember. I took that request by mail. There have been times when I took a job without having met my client. The request was for the murder of one corridor and 2 or 3 other small things. When I saw the name at the end of the letter, I thought my client to be a man.
So you took this job through a letter? He didn't mention anything about a letter in his earlier testimony, which means he is definitely lying. Be careful, Phoenix. If you break the assassin's testimony completely, it's over for us. I know, I can't make him suspicious, but I think we're okay. Like we can do this. As long as he's standing there across from me, no matter how strong of a punch I throw, he'll counter it. Now then, let's begin the cross-examination. Two or three other small things, huh? Hold it! 2 or 3 other things?
Yes.
And what were these other things?
A few other things that have nothing to do with this case.
What should I do? Should I let him slide with that? It'd be really bad if I push his buttons the wrong way and he gets mad. Press further! Whether or not they're related to this case is for the court to decide.
Mr. Attorney.
Yes?
Everything I have said from the beginning has been nothing but beneficial to your client, which is why I wonder what is pushing you to continue with this cross-examination. Could it be that you are planning to betray your own client?
That's...
I smell the stench of a backstabber, and should you turn out to be one...
Wait! Uh-oh. This is looking really bad. I shouldn't press my luck. Alright, I have to think. Is this worth pursuing? Yes! Witness, this is a very important matter. Please cooperate and tell us what these other jobs your client requested were.
If it's truly that important, I suppose I don't have much of a choice. The bear figurine.
The bear figurine?
After the assassination of the target, I was to find that figurine. I was told that this job was just as important as the actual killing.
And? Where was that figurine?
It was inside Mr. Corridor's suitcase.
And then? What did you do next?
I handed it over to my client right away.
You gave it to your client. Interesting. This information certainly sounds important to me. Witness, please include what you just stated in your testimony.
As you wish. One of these was to find the bear figurine and give it to Adrian Andrews.
Hold it! I found this figurine at Mr. Onguard's mansion. If you gave it to Miss Andrews, then what was it doing there?
I was waiting for her there. That was also part of the plan to frame Mr. Onguard, I'm sure.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any problems with this piece of testimony? There's a contradiction! So the killer says he gave the figurine to Miss Andrews, but I know somewhere in that statement there is a contradiction. And yet, I know that if I present something trivial here, he will cut the connection on his end. If you want to make a strong point, Phoenix, you have to present strong evidence. She's right. So now what, Dr. Wright? Witness, let's go over this one more time. You gave Miss Andrews the bear figurine, and she told you to take the bear and wait for her at Onguard Mansion. Is that correct?
Yes. Where are you going with this?
Well, I think maybe you might have remembered a few things incorrectly. What? This is a battle of wits. I can't let up on him. I don't think it is possible for Miss Andrews to have been the recipient of this bear. And here's my proof. Take that! Shelley the Killer. If you had really given the bear to Miss Andrews, then this item should not have been inside it.
This item?
I see where you're going. Yep, that's where I'm going. Where is everyone going? Do I need to pack a suitcase? Your Honor, please think back to Miss Andrews' testimony. And I was going to burn it, for her sake. Even if for a single minute this bear had actually been in Miss Andrews' hands, I'm sure she would have taken the suicide note out and burned it! Order! So that's where you two were going. So by the very fact that the suicide note was still inside the bear, tells us that your client didn't know how to disassemble the puzzle. Which means? It means, Your Honor, that it is impossible for Adrian Andrews to be the client. Order!
Mr. Phoenix Wright. I'm sure I mentioned this before, how I hate traitors above all else. I think your cross-examination has clearly demonstrated something to me. You must wish to break your end of our agreement.
No, that's not...
That's enough. If that's your intention, then there is only one thing for me to do.
Wait, please!
Gentlemen, ladies, please excuse me. I have a matter that I must attend to.
No, please. Not that. Please, wait.
Mr. Attorney, bring this trial to a speedy end, and I may stay my hand. Otherwise...
What in the... Mr. Wright, are you... Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor? I didn't understand this witness's outburst just now. Do you think there is a need to hear more testimony, or is this enough? Well, we should... Edgeworth, we can't do this. If we keep this up, Maya, she'll... Ugh. The prosecution, What has come over everyone? Or even you, or... The prosecution rests. What is going on around here? The prosecution has no further questions, Your Honor. What? Well, I never thought I'd see the day. This is a most unusual situation. If the prosecution rests with no further questions, then the prosecution has failed to uphold its stance. If that is the case, then even though I'm reluctant, I must believe that Mr. DeKiller's testimony is accurate. That would mean that Shelley DeKiller's client is Adrian Andrews. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? If I end the trial here, right now, then your client, Matt Odgaard, would be declared innocent, and in his place, Adrian Andrews would be charged with murder. Miss Andrews would be charged with murder? The prosecution has no further questions, so we will now hear from the defense's final remarks. Bailiff, please bring the defendant, Matt Odgaard, to the stand. The items from the killer's hideout didn't make it in time. We tried as hard as we could, but it looks like our time has run out. I can't believe it. The outcome now lies in your hands. Dude, did the old guy finally decide? To be honest, I can't think you as a truly innocent and good person. You have done enough evil to drive a woman to suicide. But, at least on the charge of murder, it would appear you are innocent. Ha! So, I guess even the old fuddy-duddy figured me out. Mr. Odgaard? You were atrocious as a lawyer, weren't you? Giving your client away like this? And that refreshing like a spring breeze crap is just as atrocious, don't you agree? Anyway, get on with it and pronounce me innocent already. Right, Mr. Lawyer? Should I side with justice, or should I save Maya's life? You'd better get on guard a guilty sentence, okay? But if I did that, Maya will die. But if I say he's innocent, then Miss Andrews will be charged as the murderer. Do I say he's guilty or not guilty? Either choice I make, someone's life is going to end. It all hinges on what I choose. Now then, Mr. Wright, let's hear the defense's final statements on this matter. If the person who hired the assassin was Adrian Andrews, then your client, Mr. Matt Odgaard, is innocent. There's no need to ask, old man. After all, my lawyer is going to say what I want. aren't you?
Right.
I can't do this, but I have to decide something. I can't count on the evidence to help me anymore. I have to listen to my heart. My client, Matt Onguard, is...
We were waiting for your answer, Mr. Wright. Matt Onguard, your client deserves an answer.
Maya, I'm sorry. Matt Onguard is... What the... Franziska von Karma!
What are you doing here? Ow!
You see now, don't you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? This is exactly why you should never take your eyes off that scruffy fool.
Did you bring them? The final pieces. Do you have them?
You should know better than to ask that, Mr. Miles Edgeworth. Von Karma's perfect in every way. The evidence is in perfect condition. Don't worry about Scruffy. He's fine, and his injuries are minor. All of the items are inside this.
What a filthy old coat this is.
That's Gumshoes. I could spot his tattered rags anywhere. I apologize for its ugliness, but there was nothing else to wrap the items in. I fought long and hard this whole trial, all for what is inside that raggedy coat. I'm sure that inside that coat lies a crucial piece of evidence. Your Honor, inside that filthy coat are the defense's final pieces of evidence.
Your final evidence? This trial is already over. All that remains for me is to hand down my verdict. I do not believe that any evidence presented now would change the outcome of this trial.
What?
Your Honor, it is our duty to examine every piece of evidence down to the last. I request that Miss Von Karma be allowed to present these pieces of evidence. I suppose you are right, Mr. Edgeworth. I grant permission to do so. However, this one obvious rule applies here. If these items do not bring up any new points, then they will not be accepted by this court. Now, Miss Von Karma, if you please.
These pieces of evidence are items left by the killer during his escape from the police.
He must have been in quite a rush.
Yes, Your Honor. The killer left 3 pieces of evidence. Somewhere among the evidence we're about to see, there will be something that will turn this whole situation around, like a miracle. I'm sure of it. That is all we can hope for. The first item is the pistol. Does the killer's pistol have anything to do with this case? Let's question for more details. Does that pistol have any relation to this case? We have yet to perform a ballistics test, so I can't say anything for certain. However, I believe it has something to do with this case, at least to me.
That's the pistol that he used to shoot you, isn't it?
That's what I believe, yes. Oh. I kept the bullets they removed from my shoulder as a sort of memento. I'm sure it will be an excellent sample for the test. So that's the pistol that was used to shoot Franziska. It's probably not going to help us very much. The second piece of evidence is this videotape. I bet the killer took that from the Arngard mansion. Have you checked the contents of that tape? Unfortunately, there was no time to. Oh, yeah. But I would speculate that this tape is very important.
Why would you say that?
Because he came back to his hideout for it. The killer went back for it? That's right. It looks like he was trying to recover it. He injured 3 of the officers at the site. But somehow it looks like they managed to protect it from the killer. Shelley the killer is no ordinary man. The last piece of evidence is this bellboy's uniform. Is that a uniform from the Gatewater Hotel? Was that used during the crime? I am almost certain it was. There's even a pair of black leather gloves as well as the pockets. There's no doubt about it, the killer was wearing this on the night of the murder. There's one thing I found interesting about this uniform.
And what is that?
There's a button missing on this uniform.
A button?
It's a very unique button. I'm sure if we were to recover it, it would provide us with an interesting clue. That is all I have to present, Your Honor.
It's just as I thought.
And? What is that, Your Honor?
I'm sure were we under normal circumstances, these items from Shelley the Killer's hideout would be very important clues. However, our question is not who did the killing. It is who was the client. Yes, that is correct. And these 3 items do not tell us anything about that. Thank you for your hard work, Miss Von Karma. You may step down now.
Wait, Your Honor! Please allow me to examine this new evidence.
Overruled. This court already has all the evidence it needs to hand down a verdict.
Wonderful! Absolutely splendid! This judge is such a brilliant man, isn't he? Is this the end? Phoenix.
I knew it. There's no such thing as a miracle in this world, is there?
I think you're wrong. I think they do exist. But you have to make that miracle happen. You've come this far, you can't give up now.
But, no matter how you think about it, it's...
Try, for my sake. Just think about it for a second. There are 2 ways out of this situation for us.
2?
The first... Make Enguarde wish from the bottom of his soul for a guilty verdict.
Huh?
The killer will always place his client's wishes first. If Enguarde himself wishes to be convicted, then he will let his hostage go.
That may be true, but that's asking me to do the impossible.
The second way... Force the killer to end his contract with Enguarde. If the killer were to no longer think of Enguarde as his client, then he would let Maya go.
Mia, that's even more impossible. He's a man who values his duty towards his clients above all else.
I know both of these seem like impossible feats at first, but if you could make either one happen, it would truly be a miracle.
The bigger problem is, the judge has already said he doesn't need any more evidence. The pieces he was just shown, he's not accepting them.
Phoenix, think things through from the other side. Isn't that what has always worked for us?
The other side? Wait, does she mean... You mean to turn things around?
Phoenix, the judge says he doesn't need the evidence. If that's the case, then who does need it?
The person who needs the evidence.
The defense, prosecution, and the judge. We have all seen pieces of evidence, and that is how we have come to know the truth. But there are people who have not seen them all, and those people do not know the truth. That truth, it may be what will bring about the miracle in the end.
There are no objections this time, correct? Now then, I will pronounce my verdict.
Why don't we all respectfully sit back and listen, kids?
I have already told you, Mr. Wright. This court does not need any more evidence.
I am not saying it is us that needs the evidence, Your Honor.
Then, you want to show the evidence to that person?
Yes, Your Honor. Please, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright, for you to ask with such passion, I will grant you 1 chance.
One chance?
Please show your evidence to who you think is the right person. That's impossible. To turn the situation around in 1 try? 1 try. That is all I will permit.
I have to try to remember everything that has happened up to this point. Think, Phoenix, think. There must be a way to save Maya while taking Enguarde down at the same time.
No then, Mr. Wright, let's not waste any more time. Who would you like to show evidence to?
Take that!
I see. And now, tell this court what 1 piece of evidence you would like to show this person.
The tape. Take that!
Well, what do you think, Mr. Edgeworth? I think there is some merit in showing this evidence to that witness. Bailiff, please bring in the transceiver from earlier.
Alright, it looks like they got a hold of him. Maya, she's okay, right?
Didn't I tell you to concern yourself with bringing about a speedy end to this trial? Now, if I understand correctly, you wish to show me one piece of evidence.
Yes, one is all I need. I have here a videotape. It was found at your hideout. I heard you injured 3 officers in your attempt to get this back.
That was most regrettable. However, it was an order from my client. I was told to protect that videotape.
I thought so.
I'm afraid I seem to have failed in that regard.
Do you know the contents of this tape?
I was sternly told by my client not to watch it. So I have absolutely no idea.
Actually, you are on this tape.
Me?
There was a video camera hidden at the crime scene. Your actions were being recorded.
What?
Is that true, Mr. Wright?
Who was it that planted a camera?
Well, the only person who could have placed a camera at the scene of the crime would be your client, naturally. That was Adrian Andrews. Be quiet and listen, Your Honor. Yes, sir. Your client specified a place and time for you, isn't that right?
Yes.
That was so they could film you.
I had no idea. Mr. Wright, why would my client do such a thing? I would like to know why.
Why did Matt Ongard film the crime scene? The reason why he did is my ticket out of this mess. There is only one reason why your client would secretly film the crime scene. Your client once told me something very interesting. We were talking about you, and this is what they said. But I'm no weakling. I don't believe anyone, least of all assassins. Oh, come now, Mr. Wright. Assassins aren't above blackmail. Yes, that's where the video comes in. With that, I can keep him at bay and even blackmail him if I want. Your client didn't trust you at all. They were thinking of using this video to blackmail you. What do you have to say to that, Shelley the Killer?
Oh ho! It looks like I was being deceived from the very beginning.
Yes, by a natural. That is the kind of person they are. Your client is a person who only thinks and plots of how to use the people around them to protect themselves from any and all dangers that may arise. That is the true nature of your client. I have one question for the witness.
Yes?
You told us one thing numerous times during your testimony. You said that you detest traitors most of all.
Yes, that's right.
But what if that traitor was your own client? What would you do then?
That's obvious. I would break our contract in that case. And then, that client would become my next target. For the honor of the Killer name, even if it takes an eternity, I would follow that person to the ends of the earth to exact my punishment. I see. That's all I wanted to know.
So the traitor becomes the killer's next target. Ah, I get it. This is how we'll turn this case around.
Mr. Wright.
Yes?
My contract with my client is over as of now. I seem to have a new job on my hands. I will now return you your precious item.
What the? I'm not an item! Maya, I thought I'd never see you again. Oh, thank goodness.
This trial appears to have come to its conclusion. However, I'm sort of... I don't quite know what just happened there with the client and the witness and... Miss Von Karma, where did that... She always has you in her sights. Now, I do believe it's time to finally hand down a verdict.
Mr. On Guard, it looks like somehow you got what you wanted. You will finally receive the acquittal you wanted so badly. You should be happy. But before that, I would like to make one final statement. Sometime in the near future, one very betrayed assassin may appear before you. Needless to say, that man is very good at what he does. I'm sure you would understand what I mean if you watched this video. Help me! Now then, Your Honor, the verdict, if you please. Is this alright with you, Mr. Wright? We have finally reached the end of a very long battle. Whether he's convicted or acquitted, there's no escape for him now. Go on, Phoenix. Plead whichever way your heart tells you. Right, Chief. Matt On Guard. Even though I am a lawyer, I cannot make your crime disappear. I think a guilty verdict is appropriate here. Me? My wonderful self? Guilty? Even if you got an acquittal, the instant you set foot outside the detention center, your life would be in danger. No matter which way you look at it, you can't run away from your crime anymore. Jesus Christ. As always, it looks like we have uncovered the real truth. We? I don't remember you helping out much in this. Mr. Edgewood, how is Matt On Guard? I have left Miss Von Karma in charge of his incarceration. I'm sure he's getting a full-course meal of whipped leather right about now. Very good. That was a close one, wasn't it, witness? Yes. I plan to pay my debt to society for my own crime, Your Honor. This trial was the first time I had stood on the witness stand, and when I did, I really felt hopeless. She must be talking about the time Edgeworth really went after her. I guess she's trying to forgive him for what he did. This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness. If you're going to say you would choose death, that is of no concern to me. But after that, when I was alone at the detention center, that's the first time I really saw myself in who I am. And today, when the two of you used your combined strength to convict Matt, I felt like I had finally been saved. Wow, this is the first time I've ever seen her smile. I am really happy that you two were in charge of this case. I really don't know how to express how I feel at this moment. This is the first time I felt comfortable with myself, with who I am. Thank you so much, everyone. It looks like we have resolved everything at last. As for myself, there are still a few things I'm confused about, but everyone seems to be in good spirits, and that is good enough for me. That is all. This court is adjourned.